A few weeks ago, during my morning meditation, I asked Source, so what should our next service be? And when should it be? And usually I'll ask questions in my meditations, and the response, if any, would be rather vague, typically. But that morning, however, the response was immediate and clear. It should be the back door, and it should be on Palm Sunday. And my mind was just immediately flooded then with ideas. Palm Sunday story of Jesus entering Jerusalem through the back gate, the back door of my house growing up, the servants' entrance, computer programs, theater stage doors. Wow, it was just so much. And this morning, I want to share some of those ideas with you because perhaps we've been putting far too much importance on the front doors, the politics of societies, the main entrances, the religions, and not paying enough attention to the back doors and the people who use them. So let me share this personal story first. When I was growing up, we lived in a small brick Cape Cod house on a rather busy street. The sidewalk and stairs from the street were a straight line into the front door. My mother always did a beautiful job with the landscaping, and the front of the house was always very attractive and welcoming. However, if you were one of the family or a close friend or really anybody who knew us very well, you would know to veer off of the sidewalk onto a small stepping stone path that led all the way around the right side of the house and into the back door. We always came and went through the back door. See, the front door was for company. It was for special occasions and special visitors. It showcased the presentable side of our family. It entered into the formal living room that no one lived in and was seldom even used. So it always looked nice. As a teen, my dates would come to the front door to pick me up. Guests would come to the front door. Santa, we were told as children, came in our front door. But the heart of the home was the den and the kitchen on the back of the house. That's where everything happened. That's where meals were prepared and consumed, homework was done, newspapers read. That's where we would sit around the hearth with the blazing fire on cold winter nights, or watch TV anytime. That's where our close friends and family would come to visit. The back door was the real door to the inner workings of our family and our home. And on the day that is now celebrated as Palm Sunday, Jesus made his triumphal entry into Jerusalem for the Passover, humble and riding on a donkey, signifying peace. Crowds of people waved palm branches and laid them on the path before him, shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord." What is seldom mentioned, however, in the retelling of that is that Jesus entered Jerusalem through the east gate, the back door, while on the other side of the city, Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, entered Jerusalem through the main gate at the head of a procession of imperial cavalry and soldiers to make a big show of the force that Rome provided to keep the peace during the days of Passover, when so many people entered Jerusalem for that major religious festival. Why did Jesus choose the back gate? Well, remember how I said that the back door of my house entered into the heart of the home? Well, so did the back gate of Jerusalem. The east gate, also called the Golden Gate, was the closest to the temple. From the Mount of Olives and the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus and his disciples liked to hang out, he could see directly into the back of the temple. And the temple, of course, was the cornerstone of the Jewish religion. It was the only place to offer sacrifices for forgiveness. It was central to the religious observance, the very dwelling place of God. This was the hub of the religion, the reason people would make the pilgrimage to Jerusalem for Passover. So for Jesus to enter Jerusalem through the back gate, into the back of the temple, would be akin to me entering my home through the back door. The back door was for family and close friends, those intimate with that location and that family. The temple was considered the home of God. Jesus was entering the home of God through the back door. Let that sink in a minute. Jesus was entering the home of God through the back door. Have you ever watched Downton Abbey? In the great old castles, the manor houses, plantation homes, or mansions, the servants for the family would have their own dedicated entrance, usually on the side or back of the house, away from the formal grand entryway. Again, the front doors were used for the affluent, the guests and luminaries, anyone the homeowners would want to impress. And since so much of their lives revolved around impressions and maintaining their elevated status in society, they would have little to do with the actual running of the home. I'm not trying to make any statement here about servants or slaves or the atrocities that they endured. Quite the contrary. It was through the servant's entrance. That's where the real activity of the house would take place. That's where the meals were prepared, preparations for guests would be made, the fires and family would be tended, clothes washed and mended. The real heart of the home would be the servants. When a servant was ill or injured, it would disrupt the entire household. When you think about it, if you wanted to infiltrate such a house, the place to do it would be through the back door. And in our modern times, computer programmers or coders create special back doors into their apps to give them quick and easy access to the codes so that they can make changes, repairs, or updates. And we all know that's what hackers look for to gain access into those apps and the havoc they can wreak when they do. And this should alert us to the need to protect our back doors also. See, the front doors are always protected, always watched. They are designed for us, for the users, to showcase what's possible. When we use an app, we're entering through the front doors to do what the program has been designed for. We're not intimate with the code that makes the program work. So the back door isn't for regular users. And when we go to the theater, we enter through the front doors where we pay our admission and collect our tickets. We're ushered into our seats to watch the performance in comfort. But if you go around to the side or the back of the theater, you'll find the stage door. And inside, you'll find the real activity of the theater. The actors, directors, costumers, stagehands, set designers, lighting and sound technicians, and all of the people who make the play happen. Through the stage door, you'll find the heart of the theater. These are just a few examples, and I'm sure that you can all think of many more. But are you beginning now to see the significance of the back door? And then what if we apply this concept to the level of society? What would we find? What is exactly the front door of society? And what exactly is the back door? I think the front door is the politics, the means of governance of a society, the rules and regulations we all must follow for civilization to flourish. It's the structures of capitalism or socialism, democracy or autocracy, the structures of economics, business, the justice system, defenses, and diplomacy. The presentable parts. But the back door is surely what leads to the heart of society. The people. It's the interconnections between neighbors, communities, and families. Sow division among neighbors, and you've created havoc for all of society. We've all seen how this works. Fake news and social media memes that play on people's fears. Fear is a back door. In the divine timing of this message, I'm sure there's no coincidence that Earth Day is only 12 days away. The farms, land, water, and air, Mother Earth herself, the back door to all life on this planet is the earth. Without clean air, water, and soil, all of life will cease to exist. When we examine the back doors, it shifts our perspective. We're usually so focused on the front doors, those presentable parts, that we totally neglect the back. But the back is really the most important. The back doors are where the servants do their work. And that means us. All faiths speak of serving others, of serving God by serving others. It's the golden rule. We are the servants. The back doors lead to where we are, the ground level service to society, to the divine. So let's think about some ways that we can affect the changes that we desire in society. How can we use the back doors in our communities to ease the divisiveness and conflicts between people? How can we use the back doors into any of those systems to generate improvements for our Mother Earth and all life on her? I can actually share a really great example here. Organic farming. Although it can be traced to the book Spiritual Foundations for Renewal of Agriculture by Rudolf Steiner in 1924, it was really spurred into real interest in the 1940s as a reaction to agriculture's growing reliance on synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, which followed the Second World War. Lord Northbourne coined the term organic farming in his book, Look to the Land, in 1940. This led to the sustainable agriculture movement during the 1950s and 60s. It started really small with just a few farms, but consumers who were concerned about the connection between diet, health, and the environment, and perhaps because the produce just tasted better, demanded more. More farmers began using these techniques, creating better and better practices. The environmental movement spurred more interest because it was seen that this was beneficial not just for the people eating this produce, but for the farmers. And it also conserves the integrity of the farmland. By the early 2000s, more and more people wanted to buy organic, and now even some large farms are jumping on the bandwagon just to meet the demand. Organic cotton farms have likewise grown in demand. Organic farming practices continue to grow and flourish, benefiting people and the planet. That's it. That's it. Do you see how using the back doors can work? I can see great opportunities here. It's like the reverse of the trickle-down theory. Instead of attempting to make changes to the existing structures through the front doors and let that trickle down, never has worked. The program users coming in from the top. What would happen if we start instead with the people who serve those structures, who underpin those structures? I invite you to ponder that for a while. But there's one more thing I want to talk about. Is there a back door to religion? You know, when we think about religions, we think about the philosophical, theological structures that have been built around a person who had an intimate connection with something greater than ourselves. We may give that something a name, God, Allah, Vishnu, Great Spirit, or perhaps we just consider it a power greater than we can comprehend. But what is the true back door to those structures? Is it not the metaphysical, ephemeral nature of spirituality? That something we can't describe? The feeling in our hearts, the overwhelming inflow of love that we experience when we are connected to the source. Isn't that what we find in a heart truly devoted to serving? The religions can provide the structure, but it's what is inside that counts. I love that we've all chosen something from Howard Thurman today, because it's amazing how much this was part of his philosophy. These are some other words of Thurman. In the total religious experience, we learn how to wait. We learn how to ready the mind and the spirit. It is in the waiting, brooding, lingering, tarrying, timeless moments that the essence of the religious experience becomes the most fruitful. It is here that I learn to listen, to swing wide the very doors of my being, to clean out the corners and crevices of my life, so that when his presence invades, I am free to enjoy his coming to himself in me. When I think about my personal awakening experience, I can see how God used a back door into me to initiate the changes I needed to make in my life. I had been so focused, so devoted to the structure of my religious practice that I was missing the presence. The experience of that vision in the middle of the night turned my religious world upside down and inside out. Only a change through my unguarded back door could have so effectively opened my heart and mind. What are your back doors? Are there changes in your life, your faith, your spirituality that you'd like to make? Are there changes in your home, your neighborhood, your community you'd like to see? What do you think about this backdoor philosophy? Do you think we're on to something really huge here? I do. This wasn't my idea. This was absolutely God-inspired. I asked the divine in meditation, and this was the answer. If we want to make changes in ourselves or our society, if we wish to be part of the evolution of humanity, we must find and go through the back doors. And it is there that we serve God. Amen.